Goodbye, Glump Face. Jack had now been on the Redcliff and Guinea Ridge Railway for about 2 weeks, after coming down from Scotland to help Ethan and Sir Callum, but after Mr. Egg had scolded him for being so rude to everybody, Jack had been behaving unusually well for quite a few days. However, this couldn't last forever, as he would soon find out. That morning, he took the picnic flyer train on 2 return runs to Redcliff and back. He was cross that morning. It was Sir Callum's turn to take the train, but Mr. Egg had made Jack go instead, and he was still cross when they returned to Guinea Ridge Junction on their second run of the day. It was around midday when Jack returned, and Ethan was supposed to take over the train for the third run of the day, and he did. Once Jack had stopped in the platform, his fireman uncoupled him, and they moved slowly forward. Then Ethan moved out of platform 2 and coupled up to the coaches. Then Jack moved back into platform 2, and a few minutes later... the conductor blew his whistle and Ethan was off. Once Ethan was out of sight, Jack was longing for a rest, but his fireman thought otherwise. We'll leave the station now, Jack, and fetch some freight wagons from the rolling stock yard back at Redcliff. Freight wagons? Freight wagons? Yes, Jack. Freight wagons. And so they set off for the Redcliff rolling stock yard, but Jack was not happy about this at all. Soon they arrived at Redcliff rolling stock yard to pick up his goods train. He hated goods wagons, especially since he was an express engine. As he was being coupled up, the wagon started to sing rude songs. A root toot toot, come on let's go, we're gonna be late cause you're too slow. Shut up you stupid wagons! And he gave the freight wagons a great bump. From now on I will do that every time you start singing. And he puffed away in a huff with the angry wagons clattering behind him. The wagons didn't stop singing though, they just carried on, and Jack got more and more angry as they travelled along and more annoyed the more they sang. He tried to bump them to make them shut up, but he was bumping them so hard that he was weakening and damaging the rails. At last they buckled. He lurched, bumped, and stopped. His fireman got out. Told you! He had indeed buckled the rails and had derailed just before the level crossing at Raiden City Station. Jack's fireman telephoned for Mr. Eric. He came up at once with Sir Callum, some workmen, and Colin the maintenance crane. After Colin had set to work, Mr. Eric needed to have a few words with Jack. Okay, Jack, this really is your last warning. If you do anything stupid again on my railway, then you will definitely be sent home to Scotland. Do I make myself clear? Yes, sir. After Mr. Eric had left, Jack's fireman came to see him. Come along now, Jack. Let's get you back on the rails. The next day, Mr. Eric was standing on the platform of Redcliff Station checking the weather on his tablet. Okay, let's have a look at the weather for today. BBC weather, Redcliff, oh dear, there's a thunderstorm coming. I think I should warn my engines. So Mr. Eric called Brian over to the loco yard so he can hear his important announcement. Hi everyone! Mr. Eric called me down here. He told me he had a very important announcement to make. I wonder what it could be. I don't know, Brian, but I'm sure we'll find out soon enough. Shh, he's coming. Let's all listen carefully. Good morning, everyone. Now, you're all probably wondering why I've come down here to talk to you all today. Well, it's because I have some bad news. There's a thunderstorm coming. A severe weather warning has been issued for both Redcliff and Guinea Bridge, putting the entire railway and the surrounding area in danger. Excuse me for interrupting you, sir, but when exactly is the storm getting here? Oh, don't worry, Peter. The storm's not due to come until 8 o'clock tonight, so I have cancelled all trains after that time. However, I want you all to complete your work as quickly as possible today, so you can all get back here safely before the storm comes. Does everyone understand me? Yes, Mr. Eric! Good. Then Mr. Eric walked over to Jack. Oh, and Jack?
Yes, Mr. Eric?
That does include you, you know.
Fine.
So everyone worked extra hard that day to get their work done before the storm came. Well, most of them anyway. But regardless, everyone, including Jack, managed to get home safely before the storm came. And Mr. Wright was very pleased with all of them. Jack, why didn't you reverse into your siding tender first?
Near time to turn around, sir. I wanted to get in here before the storm comes near.
I see. But anyway, is everyone back here safely now? Looks like it to me, sir. Okay, good. Right now, I'll just go and...
Hang on just a cotton-picking minute.
Where are Freddy and Sir Callum? I don't know, sir. I thought I saw them when I was looking. Oh no, they must still be out on the main line somewhere. And indeed, Mr. Eric was right. Freddy had a leak in his fuel tank, so he had run out of fuel and was stranded out on the main line near Guinea Bridge Junction. And Sir Callum had been held up at Guinea Bridge Junction station with his empty coaches due to the storm. We need to find out exactly where they are, right now, or else we might have to... Mr. Eric answered his radio. Yes, I see. Oh dear. Don't worry, I'll tell them. Over and out. What was that all about, sir? That was the conductor of Freddy's train. He has run out of fuel due to a leak in his fuel tank and is now stranded out on the main line near Guinea Bridge Junction. And as for Sir Callum, he's been held up at Guinea Bridge Junction station due to the adverse weather. And wait a minute! Sir Callum's goods train is still at the rolling stock yard! He was supposed to leave with it 3 hours ago! One of you is going to have to take his goods train for him and bring in Freddy some fuel so he can get back home, and we also need to find out if Sir Callum is okay. So, any volunteers who want to do it? All the engines remained silent. Surely they weren't going out in this weather. No one wants to do it? Okay, I guess I have no choice but to pick on someone. Let's see. Jack! You're already facing in the right direction, so you can do it.
Me? Going this weather? No way! I'll get cold, soaked and miserable and I won't feel safe.
Jack, do it now!
Fine!
And Jack puffed away to find Sir Callum's train. When he arrived, Brian was shunting the fuel wagon onto the train so it could be taken to Freddy so he could be refueled and have the ability to get back home safely. He had just finished and was now moving out of the way so Jack could couple up. As Jack was backing down onto the train, Brian came alongside him. Now you be careful out there tonight, Jack. The tracks are very slippery from all this rain and the strong winds could blow you right off the Bexgate flyover.
I don't need a smelly little diesel shucking squirt like you tell me what to do.
And Jack puffed away with his freight train, leaving Brian feeling rather hurt. Meanwhile, Freddy was still stuck out on the main line without any fuel to move with. Ugh, this weather is miserable. And I hope my fuel gets here soon. I just want to get back home and back to my nice warm and dry siding. Back at Redcliff, Jack was still hanging out with his trucks, but they were making him angry. Chug, 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 you chuff and tug, but you're so rusty you can't even puff.
Stop that right now, you stupid wagons!
And he gave them a very hard bump. The wagons were cross with Jack. They were going to pay him out, so when they reached the Bexgate flyover, they held Jack back. Jack tugged and strained and yanked them over the top of the hill, but that was his mistake. The wagons were now pushing him down the other side, and Jack was whistling long and loud. Freddy heard this whistle. Hi, conductor, there's another train coming, and I don't think it's going to stop in time before it reaches us. Jack rounded the corner and saw a man waving a red tail lamp frantically, and in the horror of seeing the tail lamp he braked as hard as he could, but it was too late! And all was silent. Jack had crashed into the back of Freddy's freight train, and I'm sorry to say, the damage had been done, as you will soon find out. The next morning, the storm had passed and Brian brought Colin the maintenance crane to help the track gangers clear up the mess, and they had quite a hefty amount of work to do. The first 3 wagons of Jack's train had derailed completely, and Jack himself had been heavily damaged. Coal and other goods had spilled out everywhere. The last wagon of Freddy's train had also derailed completely, but the rest of it remained unharmed. Jack's fireman, however, had been thrown from the cab during the impact and had landed in the coal hopper of Freddy's train. He suffered severe injuries and was completely paralysed. Luckily, though, he survived and had to be put in a wheelchair for the rest of his life. But, I'm sorry to say, Freddy's conductor, the man who had been waving the red baton just before Jack crashed, would not survive the accident. During the impact, every bone in his body from just below his chest down was crushed. He was airlifted to hospital, but the medics could do nothing to save him, and he died due to severe blood loss later that evening. Getting back to the rescue operation now, the wagons of Jack's train, which had not derailed, had to be cleared out of the way so Jack could be rescued. Thankfully, though, the fuel wagon of Jack's train remained unharmed, and Freddy was refueled and was able to make his way back home to his friends. When he arrived, he saw that they were talking about Jack's accident. I think that accident served him jolly well right for being so mean to us during his stay on this railway. What do you guys think? Yep, I completely agree with you, Sir Callum. He bloomin' well crashed into my train. I could have been seriously hurt, so I also think that he got what he deserved. And look, Brian's bringing him in now, or at least what's left of him. And indeed, Freddy was right. In came Brian with Jack's tender, some parts from Jack, and lastly Jack himself. It looked like that he was badly in disgrace. Mr. Eric now finally had a chance to speak to Jack. He did not look happy at all. I am disgusted by your actions you have performed during your time on this railway. Not just from last night, but all throughout. You've been very rude to the other engines, rolling stock, the passengers, and my staff as well. And last night's accident, which, by the way, you caused, and not the wagons, was perhaps one of the worst to ever happen on this railway in a long time. You also severely injured 2 of my employees, and they will now both have to be hospitalised. Let's just hope they don't die in hospital. Your time on this railway is now officially over. Now, Brian is going to take you to Guinea Bridge Junction Station, where you'll be transferred to the National Rail Network. Another engine will then take you with his freight train to Crewe Works, where you have extensive repairs done to you. Then you will make your own way back home to Scotland. Your controller, by the way, was not happy at all when I told him what you had done, and I hope he gives you just what you deserve when you get home. I knew your time on this railway wouldn't last forever. Goodbye, Glump Face. But Jack was very angry to hear all the other engines mocking him.
This isn't over yet. You idiots haven't seen the last of me. I'll be back alright, and when I am back, I'm going to give you all a run for your money.
I doubt you ever will be back, Jack. Goodbye, Jack! And Brian rolled away with Jack behind him. Mr. Eric came to see Jack, Ethan and Sir Callum later that evening. Hello, you two. I just wanted to thank you all for your hard work in the past couple of weeks. You both cope with Jack's rudeness brilliantly. We will not be seeing him back on this railway anytime soon. But I'm sorry to say, I've just received word that one of the 2 men who were involved with the accident sadly passed away about half an hour ago. Every bone in his body from his chest down has been crushed, and the medics could do nothing to save him, and I shall be attending his funeral in 2 weeks today. However, moving to a happier note, I've just received word that the American engine ship, you know, the one I ordered about 3 weeks ago, has just docked at Southampton Port, 2 weeks early. He will be arriving in 1 week today in Jack's wake. However, until then you will have to run the picnic fire train all by yourselves until the American engine gets here. Yes, well, it is rather sad that you've lost one of your employees, sir. But at least horrible old Jack's gone now, and another engine will be arriving in his wake in about 1 week. Yes, and we shall welcome this engine well, just as long as he isn't as rude as Jack was. And let's just hope that Jack never returns to this railway ever again. Do you think Jack will ever return to the Redcliff and Guinea Bridge Railway? Well, my friend, only time will tell. Bum 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 bum, train number 16.